let's go ahead and graph this tamale. 3 cosecant of pi over 6 times x. Okay, and just as we graph any trig function, we always want to start with what we call the key or the critical points. Okay, so last video we wrote down those 5 points quickly, and you're probably even still wondering, hey man, last time you even introduced this graph, it had more than 5 points, but I want to show you why we only need the 5 points, and the rest of it can be derived by shifting. Okay, so let's just go ahead and write those down, and we'll see where we're going to go from there. So it's going to be 0, let's see, pi over 6, pi over 2, 5 pi over 6, and pi. Okay, and then what is this? Undefined 2, 1, 2, undefined. Okay, so what you're going to see some very similar processes that we're going to use right now. And remember how when we're graphing sine and cosine and tangent and cotangent, we set this equal to theta. Okay, so I'm going to do that work over here. So I'm going to set pi over 6x equal to theta. And if I want to solve for x, okay, if I want to solve for x, I'm going to multiply both sides by 6 over pi. So x equals 6 over pi times theta. Okay, and so that's how I'm going to get my new x values. I get my x values by taking theta and multiplying by 6 over pi. Okay, so I'm going to be doing over here. And then we'll talk about how we get the y values here in a moment. So let's find the x values. All right, so I take 0 and I multiply it by 6 over pi. So that's going to be kind of easy. That's just going to be 0. All right, let's take pi over 6. Well, pi over 6, if you multiply that by 6 over pi, well, isn't that just going to be 1, right? Because the pi's cancel and the 6 cancel, so that's just going to be 1. Okay, pi over 2. Well, pi over 2, multiply that by 6 over pi. Well, the pi's cancel, you see, and 6 divided by 2 is just 3. Ah, very nice. Next thing right here, multiply this by 6 over pi, and the pi's cancel, and the 6's cancel, and so all we have left is just 5. And last but not least, multiply this by 6 over pi, and the pi's canceled again, and so we just get 6. All right, so now the way that we find the y values is we just have to multiply these guys by 3, because really this right here is really cosecant of just theta, right? I mean, that's so the way that you get that you have to factor in this 3 is you multiply these guys by 3 then. So if I multiply the undefined by 3, well, that's just going to be still undefined. 2 times 3 is 6. 1 and 3 is 3, 6, and then undefined right there. All right, so again, we only have 5 points, and I'm going to show you why that's going to be enough here in just a moment. So let's go ahead and graph this. All right, and so it looks like we're just going by ones, 1, 2, 3. But let's go right here. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right, so at 0 and at 6, I have a vertical asymptote. So I'm going to go ahead and graph that first. So at 0 and at 6, and actually maybe if I should just probably maybe label some of these. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, just to give some little reference there. Okay, let's go ahead and another vertical asymptote at 6. It's going to be right here. Okay, so check this out. Let's remember that this right here, okay, this whole thing right here constitutes a half a period. Okay, which means that if I want another period, everything is just going to be shifted to the right pi units, and we'll do that over here in just a moment. So watch this. If I put the point 0 undefined, okay, so that's already there. 1, 6, so go to 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to go to 1, 6. And then 3, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then 5, 6. All right, and there's going to be our first U shape. Okay, and so what happens is this now, okay? We know that they're not going to go like this, but what happens is that this is going to get flipped. And since this is a half a period, well, half of 2 pi is pi. So basically, we're going to flip it over the x-axis and then move it to the right, pi units. And the reason why I'm going to do pi is because this is a half of a period. Well, half of one period in cosecant is pi. So if I want to do a full period, I have to add pi. So this right here is going to go down right here. Well, in order to add pi, we're obviously not in pi right now, but this right here is going to go to the 9. Okay, does that make sense right there? So because this is 3 away, so this is going to be 3 away. So 1, 2, 3. So it's going to go right there. So this point, flip it down over to -3, and then I'm gonna go over to 9. Okay, I'm gonna take this guy, go down to 6, and then this is gonna go down right here to 7. This guy right here goes down to 6 and then over to 11. And then what do you know? Look at what we have here. We have another upside down parabola, I guess you could say, but really it's more like a U shape. But yet we're going to have another, what? Another vertical asymptote. And we'll put that right here. And let me just review this again here. So to do a half a period, it was from 0 to 6. So the way that you get the other period is you have to double that. Well, that's why we went to 12. Okay, so here, if I went from 0 to 3, okay, so if that's 3 away from 6, then that means I have to go 3 away from 6 going this way, which is why this point became that point, okay? And then shift this one or reflect that one across the x-axis and then that one over. So that's why I said you only need these 5 points, because the way that you get the other 3 points and the other vertical asymptote is just by symmetry. Is we know that it's going to be flipped it over and then across pi or another half a period. All right, and so this is one full period. If you wanted to do another one, you could, and maybe like I'll do it just for good measure here. I'll just do maybe just a half of one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just so we have this graph nice and complete here. And let's see. So this guy would go flip that over and then over to there. And then that's going to go down to 6. And that's going to go down to 6. So let's see here. Go like that. I'm sure there's a way that I could do this nicely here because I keep missing that setup. Let's see. I tried there. All right. So this right here would be 1 period and a half. So 1.5 periods. But all that's really necessary is just 1 period. But it kind of looks nice when they have another one right there.